Hello, Narnach here. Welcome back to the Human Resource Machine. It's the last episode. I managed to solve a couple of puzzles in a row. Let's see if the streak continues. Let's start with the storage floor. Year 29. Big changes are coming, but I see you already know that. Yes, you can now access slots on the floor indirectly. What does that mean? You will see. It's going to change everything. Also, my hair turned grey. Tell me more! Management would like to thank you for your efforts, indirectly, through me. Yes. Let's see, imagine each thing in the inbox is an address. Yes, okay. And each address refers to a tile, 0 through 9, on the floor. It goes up to 14 in this case. For each address in the inbox, pick up the letter at that address and outbox it. Okay, so we get pointers. Interesting. So congratulations, you can now access tiles on the floor indirectly. Observe the example to see how it works compared to what you've been doing so far. Okay, so observe the result. Let's see. We observe. Copy from 12. Yes, so that's the thing. So the first thing it says, hey, copy from number 12. There's the number 8 in there. So pick it up. And then it says, okay, copy it from whatever is stored in number 12, which in this case means the number 8. So then that's why he walks over to 8 to pick it up. This is pointer logic from languages such as C. Pretty tricky concept, but we'll see how it works. So, and here we can toggle direct or indirect references. Cool. Okay, so let's see. We need a temporary place to store it, so might as well use this. So we take a number from the inbox. We store it in our pointer place. Now we copy from whatever this one is pointing at. Let's see, call this PTR pointer. So that will cause us to read from anywhere on the board. And then we outbox it. And then we repeat. This seems pretty straightforward. So 5. That means we're gonna read D. Boom. Then we grab the next one. Then we grab the N. Okay. And this is the perfect solution. Well, this is a warm-up to more tricky bits. String storage floor. Okay, so special covert assignment. Management is requesting the strings from the floor. Let's just process the strings and not read or discuss what they say. It would be impolite to read messages intended for someone else. And forbidden! Okay. Each string in the inbox is an address of a tile on the floor. For each address provided in the inbox, outbox the requested item from the floor and all following items on the floor until you reach a 0. Oh, interesting. So if, for example, we get a 0, then we get the GET, and then we read a 0, which means done. So there's going to be some processing loopy things in there. I told you it would be more interesting. Let's see what he has to say. Tell me more. Yes, I went on a date once, but I was told my heart was an encrypted vault at Solitude. I assumed it was a compliment. We never saw each other again. I like the nonsensical comments. And a note of fun to it. Okay, so inbox, we read the number. Let's see, we call this one PTR. This is where we store our pointer. Copy it to there. Okay. Then we copy from whatever is in the pointer. Okay. Then if it's a 0, we are done. If it's not a 0, we fall through. Then we outbox it. And then we bump whatever is in the pointer. Because then if it starts at a 0, for example, we've already read it, outboxed it, and we bump this so the 0 becomes a 1. And after that we continue by reading whatever it's pointing at next, which means we can jump back to copy from whatever pointer is pointing at. And this, once again, it seems pretty straightforward, so let's see. Okay, the target XXX is a wake. XXX take this. XX. Perfect solution. We can continue. Oh, in all fairness, I don't think there are a lot of other options. This is the most straightforward implementation. So let's see. And this is also starting to become a bit ominous with these robot-looking pictures ahead. Let's see. String reverse. Here's 31. Ole! Or hello in reverse. How are you today? Haha! Haha! Okay, now, seriously. Tell me more. A man, a plan, a pan, a lamp. Did I tell you about the time I went to Panama? It was a long time ago. Or maybe it hasn't happened yet. I get the order of things flipped around sometimes. Hey, for each 0 terminated string in the inbox, reverse it and put the result in the outbox. Repeat. Okay, cool. So we read stuff, we put them down, and then once it's 0 terminated, we go back. Interesting. So let's see, call this pointer again. At some point we will have multiple pointers and I need to have multiple labels, but for now it's good enough. Okay, so we read a number from the inbox. Yeah. And then we copy it to whatever this one is pointing at. Well, actually. Yeah, okay, so for now we assume the first one is not going to be a 0. That's not making sense, but that will be a termination collision. Okay, so we read the first. We pick up the first number in hand. Then we copy it to whatever this one is pointing at. Boom. Okay, so the number is put down. Then we bump the pointer. And we loop back. So then we pick up the next one. Pointer will have been incremented by 1, so it's going to be stored in the next one. Then we bump it. We go back. Okay. And at some point we're picking up a 0. So if we pick up a 0, we break out of that loop. Because then we know the pointer will actually be pointing to one behind the last one. So then we can decrement the pointer. So it's going to be pointing at the last one again. Then we do a copy from whatever the pointer is pointing at. And we outbox it. And then we repeat. So then we decrement the pointer again, so it's going to be the previous one. We copy it, outbox it. At some point this is going to be 0. We still need to read it. So we need to copy it, outbox it, and we have a termination collision. So if this is a 0, we can actually just jump back to the beginning. Might be that there's some edge cases that I haven't. Huh, interesting. So we can't store things in empty spaces. We need to 0 it first. Okay. Oh, wait, it needs to be copied to wherever the pointer is pointing at, not... I mean, there's nothing in here. I had the pointer wrong. Okay. Yes. Okay, so this is good. Oh yeah. You can't jump if 0 with your hands empty. Okay. That makes complete sense. So that means... if this one is... Okay, so we will... If we bump something positively or negatively... Actually, then we keep the number in our hands, I think. So subtract 1 from the contents of a specific tile on the floor. The result is written back to the floor and also back into your hands for your convenience. So after we do this, we know if it's going to be a 0 or not. At that point, we need to do it once. Okay, so then we say, well, if it's negative, we jump. Because -1 is also good enough. And then we don't need to have some extra conditional case. Logic. Battle address. Ah, okay, so this cannot be 0 because that works. Okay, so I was, in this context, using a negative to terminate it is okay, but we need to reset it to 0. So in this case, if it's 0, then we can have a last copy outbox. Okay, so I have to make a trade-off here between instructions, number of instructions and runtime efficiency. Because what I'm now going to do is basically I check if the bump we pick up, if it's a 0, we terminate. We need to check that anyway. So I'm breaking out, so then we still need to do a copy from the pointer. Well, copy from whatever the pointer is pointing at. And then we need to outbox it. And after that we are done. This is less efficient in terms of number of instructions, but it's only one check in the loop, so that's good. The alternative for that would have been to actually pick up the number. So pick up the number here and then do a jump if it was 0. Because that would have saved one instruction over here. But in this case, just go for efficiency in runtime. See if we can make it work. And this looks like it's actually running. Okay. So we used 2 instructions too many and then we had a fast runtime. But I said this was a trade-off I was making. So let's see if we can do the option. So we paste it. And now we go less for efficiency and we go for less instructions. So after we outbox it, we do a copy from pointer. We just read the value. And then we don't do a hard jump, but we do a jump if 0. And then we go back. And this should result in 1 extra instruction per cycle, so that's why it's faster. Okay. What am I doing wrong? It's a 0 here. Oh, wait. Ah, I still had a straight jump. Ah, okay. So they're thinking, why my logic is sound. It should not fail. Because in this case, there is this loop still here. Nicely identified by this bit. and the reading, and then we have to make one extra read instruction every time. So that's why it's slightly less efficient. It's still better than the goal, but we are now on target for our instruction count or command count. So we are still good. Let's continue to the elevator. Inventory reports. Year 32. Inventory check. Accounting verification. Surprise audit. These are a few of my favorite things. So let's get started. Tell me more. How can you determine if two letters are equal? Maybe try the same thing you would do if they were numbers. Yes, B is just one more than A. You've made it this far. I'm sure you already knew that. Okay, so do math with letters. For each thing in the inbox, send to the outbox the total number of matching items on the floor. Interesting. So in this case, ABCX, we have to count how many A's there will be. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. The thing is, this input is going to be randomized, so we can't just cheat by bumping the count. Okay, we have a 0 here, and we need to reset our count to 0 every time. Also, this terminates the string conveniently. So in this case, we can treat this sequence as a 0 terminated string. Basically, we have a pointer of where we are in the program. So the first thing we do is we copy from this one to the pointer to reset it to 0. Actually, mark this as a 0 to mean it has meaning. It's also it's the 14th one, and it's going to be 0 terminating the string. But it's important that this is a known 0. So what we do is we copy 0, we put it in the pointer, and we know at least that it's there. And then we know we can start over there. Okay, and then we have the compare. This is what we're looking for. Okay, that's comp. That's it, let's actually clear it this way. Comp. And then the final one, we have the count. Call it sum. It's easier to write, it's a 3-letter word rather than a 5-letter word. And there's space in between so the stickers don't bump into each other, making it harder to read. And we have the space. So that's good. Okay, so this is a setup. Pointer is at 0. Then we also put it into the sum. But as with everything, always start with reading the inbox and put it into whatever we are looking at, and then we clear it, because then if we look back all the way in the end, we don't start clearing out fields when there's no input, because that's less efficient and we're going to lose a couple of instructions for that. So the order in this case doesn't really matter how we do it, it just all needs to happen. Doing the inbox first means we terminate slightly earlier. So that's a slight efficiency gain. Okay, so let's see, double check, subtract. Subtract the content of a specific tile on the floor from whatever you are currently holding. The result goes back into your hand. Excellent. So this is still just, this is going to remain untouched. Okay, so at the end of this bit, we are done clearing everything. So we do a copy from compare. Then we subtract whatever the pointer is pointing at. Yes. And you know, two things are equal if the difference is exactly 0. So if it's exactly 0, then we have a match. Then we need to increment the sum. So we bump it. Otherwise, that's not the case. So in that case we don't have it, and then which means we can just start again. Oh, we also always need to bump the pointer. Let's see. Before we jump back, we need to bump the pointer. Yes, because we looked at 0. We need to increment it to 1. So the next cycle we actually check the next one and the next one and the next one until the value that we're pointing at is equal to 0. Oh, this is going to be nice and complex actually, because there's... Okay, so actually we don't go back. So jump of 0. In that case we bump plus the sum, we increment the sum by 1 and we continue. If it's not 0 we just skip bumping the sum and we continue. So in both cases, if it's 0 or not 0, we end up here. That means we bump the pointer, that's important. Then jump if 0, can we... No, we need to pick up the pointer, so we need to read whatever the pointer is pointing at. Oh, actually that doesn't matter. That's the first thing we do. So in this case we can go back. Dang it. No, we don't pick up the value. So we actually do need to read whatever the pointer is pointing at. So the thing is, the pointer is going to start at 0. It's going to increment until we reach this one. This is a value 0. That means we are done. That's why the 0 was put here. This is a string that the 0 terminated, so we can conveniently check it. So in this case, if we copy the value from whatever we're pointing at, if it's 0, it means we are done with this instruction. That means we can outbox. Well, we need to first read the sum, and then we outbox it. And then, let's see, yeah, all we need is the sum. We don't need to repeat this number of this letter. Okay, and after this we can jump back all the way to the beginning. And this already takes care of resetting all the computation fields, so we don't need to do anything with it. Okay, let's see if this works. It got pretty complicated, so I hope you followed it. Let's just watch it slowly do its thing. I like how they used arrows to indicate what things are pointing at. So you see this pointer is just pointing at 0 and then at 1. And then at 2. Then X, and we compare it. And that's not the same, so we just point it and we don't increment it. We just walk by all of the things to check if it's a B, and that's still not the case. Or if it's an A, I'm looking for A's. C is not an A either, so there's going to be a difference. There's a heck of a lot of walking here. Because for each of the input items we need to traverse the entire path to see if we have matches. I'm not sure if there's a more efficient way to do it. This is the most straightforward implementation I could think of. I hope this is going to be a perfect solution, otherwise it's going to be a lot of head scratching to see if I can further optimize it. Final one. Five, 4, 2, 3. Okay. Okay, I'm off the mark. I need to use one instruction less. And I need to shave off 83 steps. Okay, let's have a look. Copy. Pasta. Okay. So, given the fact that I'm so far off the mark, means I'm probably I mean, this sequence, it's 5, it's 10, it's 14, it's 15 cycles long, 4 letters. So that's about 60 instructions. If there's one instruction for the per comparison cycle, if I'm off by 1, then that's something that can be improved. So the main loop here, this thing bugs me. Jump of 0, all we do is skip over a jump, and then we have another jump that goes over here. After which we bump it, and we do a copy, and then we do another jump to jump out of it. There's a lot of side effects and side checking going on, and I don't like having to read this value from the pointer. So maybe, I need to reverse it. If we end here with a copy from pointer, what if we lead with it? So, because the only reason I went with this is because it looked okay. Simply said. So if we turn them around, actually, what if we do a copy from? Because here's a copy from, that's what we ended with. And here we basically begin with it. So what if instead of just copying the comparison and then subtracting whatever we're pointing at, what if we reverse it? So copy from pointer, we subtract whatever we are comparing. So we just read this value and we subtract this. Doesn't really matter. All we do is compare things in our hands. But the thing is, it means we can do a copy and actually we can lead with it. We can take this out, and if we are reading whatever we are checking here, it means we can take our jump of 0 out. Ta-da! We solved this part. So we removed one instruction. That was one of the goals we had. We needed to take one instruction out. That succeeded because we had 2 copies and now there's only 1 copy remaining. And we have our termination condition same as well. This was in our main loop. And we terminate earlier now. So rather than terminating all the way at the end, we can terminate at the beginning. So maybe this is enough. Let's see how this goes. So far, logic seems sane. The entire loop went through, and we reset correctly as well. Okay, we have a working solution. That much is clear. Let's see if it was efficient enough. Okay, so we did speed up the solution. It's 432 now, and we completed the size challenge. Right, let's take one more shot at getting these last 39 instructions off. Let's see, copy, paste. Okay, 39 instructions. So that's not going to be something that triggers every time. I mean, it's about 10 times per loop. So maybe there's some some jumping logic that's off. Okay, let's see. Ooh. Jump if 0 goes here, and then we jump and we reset. This is a pattern that we've seen before. I mean, if we have an exit condition that we jump to, it's often more efficient to start with it and then skip over it in the beginning. So let's do exactly that. So we have a copy from some, and we outbox it. And then rather than jumping to the end of the program when we reach our termination condition, let's jump to this bit of exit logic. And do it all over again. So all we did is shuffle things around and we got rid of a single jump. Well, we moved it, but this jump is now executed only once rather than multiple times. So might be enough, might not be enough. And if it's not enough, I've got a feeling that this bit of logic might have a similar thing going on. Just need to figure out how that's the case. Final bit of the journey. For 29, we shaved off a whole 3 instructions, which makes sense because there's 4 input letters and we saved ourselves 1 jump for each of the letters, but we traded that off for 1 jump in the beginning. So we have 39, now we have 36 to go, which if you divide it by 4 letters means we got 9 instructions per cycle to shave off. Let's see, this is the main loop. Let's see, basically that means each of the hits, maybe? Let's examine our main logic again. So, our main loop consists of we read a value from whatever we're pointing at. If that's a 0, we terminate. Then we subtract the value that we are comparing with. And if that's a 0, we jump ahead and we increment the sum. Okay. Otherwise, we have a jump that goes over that. Okay. I'm recognizing, I realize what I was recognizing. This is the same pattern as we were applying before when we had this bit of exit logic at the bottom. We were jumping to it, we run it, and we went back. We have a similar thing going on here. So we fall into the loop here. And what we could do is we have a bit of logic that we jump over. And if we have 0, we can jump into it. So actually we have more logic to jump over. If it's 0, we need to jump here. Otherwise we jump over there. Either way, we need to do some pointer bumping. Okay. Let's double check. Okay, so we come in. We have a fresh setup. We come in. The first thing we do is we jump. Okay, so that jump is going to be executed once and then never. Okay. Then what we do is read the value from the pointer. So we check if it's 0, we exit. Otherwise, we subtract the value we are comparing with. Okay. If that's 0, that means we have a match. That means we jump over here and we bump the sum. That's good, because that's good. That's what we want. If it's not the case, we have a jump that goes straight here. If, in either case, after bumping the sum, or if we don't have a match and we don't bump the sum, either way we're going to end up here. And the next thing we do is bump the pointer to the next thing to the next memory space. And then we repeat it all over again, and then basically, because that's the same spot as what we end up when we start the loop. Okay, so the logic is still same, just slightly reshuffled. With a bit of luck, that's one less jump for most of the cycle. So let's see if that was enough. I'm thinking it does. It's actually, I'm really happy that they first let you solve the puzzle, and afterwards they tell you the criteria for a benchmark solution or a standard solution, so to say. Because there is often room for improvement, but at least you know there is a solution at a specific mark, or multiple solutions that hit different marks. And then if you're off, then you know you can tweak your logic and actually arrive at a better solution. And we did, and we actually made it faster than the goal. So that's excellent. Then we end with the cinematic. Where is Carol? Year 33.
Hey, where's Carol?
Ow.
Oh my god. This coffee is amazing. Back to work, ladies.
Breaking. Previous reports of machine army evaluate to false. Everything equals 100% fine. Whether within pleasant tolerance parameters or human skin layer, we're all going to be fine.
The robots have taken over. Okay, well, that was a nice run. So, once again, thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something from this and helped you improve your own solutions. And I'll see you again next episode. Bye bye.